Vehicles fitted with an automatic transmission have a traffic and motorway assistant linking the stop-and-go adaptive cruise control to the lane centering function. Using information from the camera on the windscreen and the radar in the front bumper, the traffic and motorway assistant can steer your vehicle and keep it in the center of its traffic lane, maintaining a cruising speed and a following distance from the vehicle in front. To start the traffic and motorway assistant, first press this switch to activate the stop-and-go adaptive cruise control. This indicator light comes on and the message Adaptive Cruise Control On appears on the instrument panel with dashes to indicate that the system is waiting to store a cruising speed. Note that the stop-and-go adaptive cruise control can be switched on from 0 to 105 miles an hour, 0 to 170 kilometers an hour. In any case, the minimum cruising speed that can be stored is 18 miles an hour, 30 kilometers an hour. Once the desired speed is reached, press one of these switches. The function is then switched on and the current speed is stored. The speed appears in green on the instrument panel, accompanied by this indicator light. You can change the cruising speed at any time by pressing plus or minus repeatedly until you reach the desired speed. Please note that when the stop-and-go adaptive cruise control is activated, a following distance is always activated by default. This corresponds to a 2-second following time, displayed in green on the instrument panel. The following distance between you and the vehicle in front can be adjusted by pressing this switch several times. Horizontal following bars appear on the instrument panel, corresponding to the desired distance. The further the bar is from your vehicle, the longer the following time. 2.4 seconds approximately for a long distance to 1.2 seconds approximately for the shortest following distance. Once the cruising speed is stored and distance control is activated, you can take your foot completely off the accelerator and brake pedals. However, you are strongly advised to keep your feet close to the pedals to be ready to intervene if necessary. If the camera and the radar detect a vehicle in front, this will appear on the instrument panel. When you come up to a vehicle traveling slower than you in the same lane, your speed will adapt accordingly, observing your selected following distance. If the vehicle in front accelerates, your vehicle will also accelerate until it reaches the chosen cruising speed again. When the vehicle ahead of you slows down and stops before moving off again, your vehicle can do the same, without you having to touch the pedals. With Adaptive Cruise Control activated, and so that your traffic and motorway assistant is fully active, you should now press this switch to activate lane centering to keep the vehicle in your traffic lane. The message Lane Centering Activated, along with this symbol and this indicator light, are then displayed on the instrument panel. The indicator light and the line indicators appear in green when lane centering is in operation. If the lines and the indicator light stay grey, this means that the required conditions for lane centering have not been met. Lane centering operates when your speed is between 37 and 100 miles an hour, 60 to 160 kilometers an hour. Note that if the adaptive cruise control is not in operation when you want to switch on lane centering, the message "First activate adaptive cruise control" appears on the instrument panel. When lane centering is in use, you must keep your hands on the wheel, as this symbol indicates. The system warns you if it cannot detect your hands on the steering wheel. After 15 seconds, the message "Keep your hands on the wheel" appears in yellow on the instrument panel. After 30 seconds, the indicator light and message appear in red on the instrument panel, accompanied by a sound signal which gets progressively louder. After 45 seconds, the audio sources go into standby and the audible warning sounds continuously. The indicator light goes out and the message "Lane Centering Deactivated" appears in red on the instrument panel. The lane centering function is then deactivated. Please note that in this case, the stop-and-go adaptive cruise control continues to operate. During the first 2 alert levels, as soon as the system detects the presence of the driver's hands on the steering wheel again, the alerts stop and the function continues to guide the vehicle to the center of the lane. When the traffic and motorway assistant is activated, if the vehicle ahead of you slows down and stops before moving off again, your vehicle can do the same, without you having to touch the pedals. If the vehicle in front of you starts off again within 3 seconds, your vehicle starts off again automatically. If the restart takes place between 3 seconds and 3 minutes, simply tap the accelerator or this button to reactivate the cruise control and its stop-and-go system. The lane centering function will then be put on hold and reactivated when your speed has reached 37 miles an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. Important, after 3 minutes, the adaptive cruise control will be deactivated and the electronic parking brake will be applied. You then have to switch on the adaptive cruise control again. You can exceed the cruising speed and overtake at any time, simply by pressing the accelerator pedal. Note that switching on the flashing indicator puts the lane centering function on hold. To confirm that the lane centering function is on hold, this indicator light and the left and right line indicators are shown in grey on the instrument panel. During overtaking, the cruising speed will flash in red on the instrument panel. If the distance from the vehicle in front is less than you have selected, the distance control function is no longer provided, and the programmed following distance bar flashes on the instrument panel. Once overtaking is complete, release the accelerator pedal naturally so that the traffic and motorway assistant resumes operation. The adaptive cruise control system can be put on standby by pressing the brake pedal or pressing this switch. The cruising speed and following distance are then stored and lane centering is put on hold. The indicator light appears in grey on the instrument panel, accompanied by the message Adaptive Cruise Control disconnected. To switch Adaptive Cruise Control on again, just press this switch. The last settings that were saved are then restored. Pressing this switch reactivates the cruise control function without applying the stored speed. Your current speed will then be applied. Lastly, to deactivate the traffic and motorway assistant, just press this switch. To ensure the system functions correctly, make sure that the camera and radar are not obstructed, for example by dirt, mud or snow. The function may be temporarily disrupted when the visibility of the road is poor, or if it includes hairpin bends. Please note that the camera and radar only detect vehicles travelling in the same direction as you. In addition, you must deactivate the adaptive cruise control if you are towing a trailer. Finally, bear in mind that this function is an additional driving aid that must not replace your vigilance as a driver. Generally speaking, always adapt your speed to the traffic conditions, irrespective of the system's indications.